I'm Joe Stowe, and welcome to Joe Stowe Guitar. Today we're going to work on the song White Room by Cream. And it comes from this album, Cream Wheels of Fire. And it's a double album set. Has a great inside as well. White Room is track 1 on side 1. And it's neat because record 1, sides A and B are from the studio. The second record, which is sides 3 and 4, are from live at the Fillmore. And so it's just an amazing record. It's so great. Okay, so let's get started. I'm using a guitar in standard tuning. Here is a low E string for you. So you can tune with it. Now I'm going to leave the overdrive turned off for showing you the chords initially, and then we can turn it on later, but it'll sound a little bit clearer if the overdrive is turned off. We're going to be playing the middle 4 strings of our guitar, and we're for the most part going to ignore the 1st string and the 6th string. So the first chord is a D major chord. Comes right out of your open position D chord. But remember I said we weren't going to play string 1. So you can either mute that string 1 with your 2nd finger and just have it in the same place, or you can just leave it off. I generally just leave it off. I still play the other 2 notes with my 1st finger at the on the 3rd string at the 2nd fret on the A, and then my 3rd finger is going to be on the 2nd string at the 3rd fret on D. And so generally we're just going to play those 2 strings and the open D string. Now you hear how I played that. I played the open string first, and then I played all 3 strings. All downstrokes. Okay, that's the first chord, and it gets easier from there. So now the second chord, you're going to take it's still going to be a form of the D. It's going to be a D chord over a C. And what that means is we're just going to have C as our bottom note, and the D is going to be on top of it. But you're still going to use 2 fingers. You're going to keep your 3rd finger on the 2nd string at the 3rd fret. This is what's called a pivot finger, because we're going to pivot these chords around that finger, and that 3rd finger is not going to move at all. So we're going to keep that there, and then we're going to bring our 2nd finger down to the C note, which is on the 5th string at the 3rd fret. And then you're just going to play the low string, the 5th string. You're going to pick that twice, and then you're going to strum all 4 middle strings. So you're going to strum 5, 4, 3, and 2. So it has kind of a funny sound to it. Then the next chord is going to be, again, keep your 3rd finger at the same spot. And now you're going to use your 1st finger, and you're going to put it on the 5th string at the 2nd fret. So now we're playing a D over B. Here again. Again, we're just playing the middle 4 strings. So let's start those 3 chords again. So we have our D, the D over C, then the D over B. And that's the first 3 chords. One more time. Starting to happen, starting to form. Now the next chord, next two chords are going to be A-shaped bar chords. And what I mean by that is we're going to have we're going to be using fingers 1 and 3. Your 1st finger is going to be playing the root note, which will be along the 5th string. In this case, it's going to be a B flat. And B flat is on the 5th string at the 1st fret. And that's the only string you have to push down with that finger. And so you can lay the rest of your finger across the fingerboard. And then your third finger is going to come in at the 3rd fret, and a little bit of stretch if you're not used to it. And your third finger is going to be playing strings 4 and 3 at the 3rd fret. So this is basically, it's just a power chord, if you've heard that term before. And it's going to sound like this. Okay, so now what I'm doing on my 3rd finger here is I'm not using 2 fingers to play those strings, which of course you could, but it's a little more versatile if you just use your 3rd finger to play the 4th and 3rd strings. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of bending the tip of my finger backwards just a little bit. It doesn't move very far, but that's all it takes. So you just pick again the middle 4 strings, just want a down strum. And then the next chord is the exact same shape, but we move it up to a C major chord, C major power chord, and that takes place at the 3rd fret. So your first finger will be at the 3rd fret. Here we go, B flat, C. Now one of the things I am doing when I play these power chords is I'm lightly touching the 6th string with the very tip of my 1st finger. And that way it mutes the string, so that way if I accidentally hit it with my pick, it won't make any sound. It's a dead string. Because again, we just want to be playing the middle 4 strings. And that way I can kind of rub against it with my pick and no sound will come out. Then we're right back to the beginning again, the D. I messed up there. So that's the part of the song that everybody is familiar with for the most part, and that goes through all the way through all the verses of the song, and also the guitar solo. Now there is another part of the song that's I call the chorus, and that's the part of the song where you hear Eric Clapton singing and it's real high in the vocal range, and that starts out with and that one's pretty much going to be all power chords and bar chords, but it starts out with a C power chord, which we already know because we just learned it. Then it goes to a major bar chord. Now there's a couple different ways. If you see Eric Clapton play, he plays it with his thumb over the neck to get the 6th string. My hands are kind of small, so I can't really do that comfortably. So I do a typical bar chord where I bar my 1st finger all the way across the strings, and it's pushing down my root as well as the it's pushing down the root as well as the 4th string. I'm sorry, the 2nd string. And then my other fingers are in the shape of an E chord, because that's where this comes from if you're familiar with the caged system, the C-A-G-E-D system of playing guitar. This chord comes from the E open position chord. That's another subject for another video. I'm going to have my 1st finger is going to be at the 3rd fret, barring across all 6 strings. My 2nd finger is on the 3rd fret, at the 4th fret on the 3rd string. My 3rd finger is going to be on the 5th fret at the 5th string. And my pinky, my 4th finger, is also at the 5th fret, and it's playing the 4th string. And you're going to strum all the way across the guitar. If you don't hit that high E string, I'm kind of muting it with my 1st finger a little bit because I don't really want to hear it. Because these are just these chords, they sound better when you have overdrive and distortion on. They sound better if you just more or less have the roots in 5ths. So that's the A major chord. Then it goes back to our B flat, which we already learned. And then it goes to an A, open A chord. Now you can play the open A the typical way, which is this way, like I show in one of my other videos. But in this case, we're going to just play it similar to a power chord, and I'm going to use one finger, and I'm going to leave that open A string open, and I'm going to use the tip of my first finger, and I'm just playing the fourth string and the third string. I'm just playing those two strings. Okay? So to recap, we have a C, back to the C again, so you play this series twice. B flat, but instead of going down to the A, the second time through you go back up to the C. He goes up to the D chord then. And then back to the D, and the D over C, D over B. The chorus comes in. Then he plays a little lick there, Eric Clapton does. And all I'm doing there is I'm at the 7th fret on the 4th string, and with my first finger, and then I'm going to hammer on with my 3rd finger up to the 9th fret, like that, and then I'm going to just hop my first finger over one string to the 3rd string. I'm going to pick that 2 times. My 3rd finger back to the 9th fret on the 4th string, and back to my first finger on the 3rd string at the 7th fret. That's all that is. So he goes, and then back to the song. And that's pretty much the entire song. Now there's one more part that I think you might be asking about, and that is what I call the interlude. And it starts the song off, and it also comes in a couple of times in the song, and it starts like this. It's the beginning of the song. And so on. So our first chord in this is going to be a G minor, and we're going to play it up here at the 10th, 11th, and 12th frets. So my first on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings. So my first finger is going to be at the 10th fret on the 1st string. My 2nd finger is on the 11th fret at the 2nd string, and my 3rd finger is playing the 12th fret on the 3rd string. Okay, so that's a G minor chord, G minor triad. Then we go to an F major triad. And so all you're doing is moving that shape down 2 frets. So now your first finger is going to be on the 8th fret on the first string, your second finger is not going to be used, although I just leave it down the whole time. Your third finger is going to be at the 10th fret on the third string, and now you're going to be using your pinky, your fourth finger, that'll be on the second string, also at the 10th fret. So I play it, typically I leave the minor chord shape there, and with my second finger in between on the second string, and then I just add my pinky, and that takes the place and makes it a major chord. So we have the G minor to an F major. Sorry about that. And you're just playing the top three strings. Then we slide the whole shape down to the 5th fret, and you're going to play a D minor scale. A D minor triad, sorry. So now my first finger is at the 5th fret, first string, second finger is on the second string at the 6th fret, and my third finger is on the 7th fret on the 3rd string. That's a D minor triad. And then we slide the whole thing down and we make the major triad, and we're at the 3rd fret now, and we're playing a C major triad. See, I did the same thing. I just kept my second finger on the string, and I just added my pinky. So my first finger is on the first string, 3rd fret. My second finger is not really used. I just leave it there. The third finger is on the 3rd string, 5th fret, and my pinky now, the 4th finger, is on the 5th fret at the 2nd string. So to recap, we have G minor, F major, D minor, C major. And then the last chord is an A minor. And I just play an A minor bar chord. Okay? So that's just like the A major bar chord, you just leave your second finger off. Now you can also do it this way. You can play an open A minor chord as well. And that works just fine. I typically like to do it this way. So it's played twice. Play it one more time. And now we go to the A minor. In the So that, I call that the interlude. So it's also used as the introduction to the song, and then it's also used in the middle of the song. Now, when you listen to the song on the actual album, the studio version of it, this is just approximating it. Now, I think there's quite a few overdubs getting that sound, and this gets pretty close. It's the flavor. It gets close to the sound that's on the record, but it's not exact, because if we want to play this with a band, we're not going to have the ability to have 10 guitar players playing it like they might. I don't know how many overdubs they did to get the sound they did. There's a lot going on in the introduction of that song. This gets it pretty close. Now, if you listen to Eric Clapton playing it live, he typically doesn't play that. He typically just plays power chords down low on the guitar, and it sounds awesome. So it's a different flavor for the song, but it just sounds great anyway. So he starts off with a G minor power chord to an F major. Then you see him go up to the 5th fret for a D minor, and then a C power chord. Back to the G minor. And he typically strums it one time. And then the A minor. Okay, so that's the other way that you can play it, and you'll be totally correct in doing it if you don't want to play these high triads. When you put distortion on, it's more of an overdrive than distortion. Today I'm just using a Fender Blues Junior. I don't have it up real high. I think I have it on maybe 3 or 4. And I'm using a little bit of a delay, digital delay pedal. And for my overdrive, I have an old Chandler tube driver, and it's a rack mount version. So it works really well. It's back from the 1990s, still works awesomely. And so I'll just engage that, the tube driver, and we can see how this sounds. So you don't want so much distortion that it kind of makes it too muddy. You still want to be able to hear the notes in the chords. That interlude also would sound like this if you're just playing it. If I was playing it with a band live, I might do that. Or if you have two guitar players, one guitar player can play the high notes, high triad chords, and then the other guitar player can play the power chords. Sorry about that. A minor chord. Okay, so that's how to play White Room by Cream and Eric Clapton. So if you like these types of videos, I hope you hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below what song you're working on, if this helped you at all, and I'll see you on the next video.